Hi, everybody, and welcome back. It is now round 3 of the Green Invitational, and I'm joined by GM Matthew Sadler.
Hello, everyone.
And we're going to look at the games. We're going to even... No, we're not stopping. We'll start with this. Let's start with the games.
Amazing concept.
Yes.
It's actually it's a really interesting games this time. So good to get into it. It's right. Let's start off with Ketty against Danielle Fernandez.
Yes.
We'll just go through the whole game because I think that's worth it.
So two grandmasters here playing. Scottish grandmaster Ketty against English grandmaster Daniel.
Indeed, and it wasn't quite the opening. I thought it was a Rai Lopez when I saw the structure, but it actually turned out to be a Bishop B5 check Sicilian. You can tell that Ketty is not as young as she once was because she was always a mainline Sicilian player, but now playing the Bishop B5 check. But we all graduate to that.
Even some young players play the Bishop B5 check Sicilian.
B5 check actually, it was one of the lines that throughout my professional career, it was always, oh my God, I've got this again. But actually, it's become more or less a main line. A little bit less popular nowadays. Nowadays, they're looking at other Sicilian lines, but still very dangerous. Very hard to make something against it if not so difficult to get a slightly worse position, but not easy to get anything exciting. This is a decent attempt, but actually it just ends up looking like a Rai Lopez. Bishop B7, castles, E5, D4, and we could just have this from a normal Chigorin Rai Lopez. It swings and roundabouts. White hasn't had to play H3. But Black has, instead of putting the knight on C6 and going knight B8 to D7, has played knight B8 to D7 immediately. So, both sides have won and lost stuff. White's also played the bishop straight away to C2, gone bishop B5, A4, C2, rather than going bishop B5, A4, B3, C2, as you would in the Lopez.
Now, we were commenting this morning that Daniel Fernandez likes to play slightly unusual openings.
Indeed.
We haven't see. I mean, this is too
pretty
unusual.
Normal. It's pretty normal for Daniel, I would say. This maybe got caught out by Bishop B5 check. Actually, because I said my natural assumption would be that Ketty would play the open Sicilian, so maybe he didn't have anything specific prepared against this. This is pretty normal stuff, really. So Bishop B7, Rook D1. Queen B8 and now D5, and this is a pretty normal idea in the Rai Lopez, and so in these sort of structures.
So he's trying to shut out that bishop there.
Yeah, when Black's committed the bishop to B7, then playing D5 is very, very natural because the bishop's got absolutely no future whatsoever. So the bishop will probably go to C8 and come back to D7 later.
Well, says Ketty's tricked him into a normal-looking position.
Exactly. That's a very good way of saying it. So, we get to bishop c8. You see straight away, Daniel repositioning his bishop. Now, one thing that White might do is to play b3 here, just to stop Black from playing c4 and knight c5. Which should be quite a decent idea. Ketty doesn't do that. Ketty allows it, just goes knight d2 to f1. And now Black plays c4. And normally this should be decent. You're going to play the knight to c5, bishop to d7, and then go for a5, b4, that sort of thing. So knight g3, knight c5, b4. And now Black plays this typical idea, takes, and a5. And it's all about basically trying to get some space for the Black pieces because obviously, this pawn structure d5, e4 gives White a lot more space. And here Black's fighting for queenside space. In principle, this should be a decent position for Black. In terms of Lopez, it's decent, but Daniel plays something very risky now. After bishop d2.
Yeah.
Was kind of expecting bishop d7 or probably bishop d7, I think. And I mean, you can play a move like bishop d7, and then you're going to play rook e8, maybe play bishop d8 round to b6, maybe look for b4 at some stage. But he played a4.
Okay, I mean that kind of looks. It doesn't look too crazy, does it? Because like you've got your you're going to get past a pawn.
But it's very risky, and I'll tell you why. It's just that it looks very active, and it looks like you're getting your pieces into there. But Black's pieces are really passive. Bishop on c8 has got no scope; it's blocked in by this pawn on b5. Bishop e7's got no scope. Knight's not doing enormous amounts. So it's if you were playing this and it was a normal Sicilian or something like that, somehow your pieces are always ready to get into action. But with a Lopez, they never are. They're always really slow and behind. And I do think, to be honest, that this is maybe a small sign that Daniel isn't quite used to these positions. I think he's expecting to get a bit too much activity than he is actually getting. And I mean, that's one of the things about having experience in an opening. I think if you've got experience in an opening, you know what you can get away with. I mean, as a Najdorf player, I can definitely say this. Whenever I've tried to play the Lopez, I've always overestimated the value of my counterplay, which turns out to be rather disappointing all the time. And
now Kevin's a big Ketty fan, and he's saying, is white better in this position?
I think that certainly after a4, b4, I think that white's much better. Yeah. And so I think knight b3 takes. I mean, the key thing is, can you maintain this pawn on b3? And I don't think you can, because how are you going to support it? It's just very difficult.
It might just drop off. Yeah, rook
exactly.
b1. That's what she's going for. She's just going to take it off.
Exactly. I mean, it's just very simple play here. And so, I mean, Daniel starts, really trying his best to keep that pawn and keep things going. But Ketty just plays it really simply and goes rook a1 here, g6, rook a2, knight d7, and well.
So is it just as simple as extra pawn for white?
It's just an extra pawn. I mean, Black is going to try and mess up the pawn structure. So you're going to play f5, and you're going to try and somehow weaken these dark squares and get some counterplay. But for example, I mean, I can start with moves like rook a5, for example, hitting the pawn on b5, and you've already got to tell me, what exactly are you going to do about that? I mean, the best idea that Black's got, the tactic that Black's got is rook bishop d8, and after rook b5, there's bishop a6 trapping the rook. So, but I mean, this is kind of desperate hanging on, really. I mean, with white, for example, I could just play bishop h6. So you go rook e8, and now your f5 move isn't going to be half as easy. And then what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to work out how to do this. Maybe I want to bring my knight round here to d2. Or maybe even to e1, c2, and help eventually with a3. I mean, I could play my rook to a8 and pin you on here. I mean, it's just this is a really difficult position for Black. Black might survive, but I think already Black's in a lot of trouble. Maybe something like bishop h6, rook e8, bishop e3 would be a nice idea. Stop the knight getting to b6 and prepare to transfer this knight on f3, which isn't doing so much. Maybe transfer it, round to the queen side, a3. I mean, you could even do something very stupid and simple, like just knight d2 and then play for c4. I mean, you've just got an extra pass b pawn, which is really hard to stop. So I think Black's in a huge amount of trouble here. I don't know what the computer's saying and whether I've got it completely wrong, but I would think that Black's in a massive amount of trouble here.
Yeah.
So,
well, it makes sense if white's a pawn up and has better pieces as well.
Yeah, it's sort of what you'd expect. But I mean, I think this is really very good. So yeah, I mean, looking very positive for Ketty there.
We've got to do a shout out to Terry Chapman, who
hey Terry,
Kevin's reporting. Terry has been doing very well in the seniors event, and England is obviously a global powerhouse, probably the top nation in seniors chess. They're definitely Indeed. The top nation. They're the world champions in all subjects, pretty much. So big well done to Terry Chapman.
Fantastic. And you won the women's event, the team event, didn't you?
Yes,
Recently,
indeed.
Natasha?
Yes, and Kevin. Kevin was in one of the other England teams, and England won the over 50s event and the over 65s event.
Fantastic. They don't build them like that anymore, do they?
Kevin did. England did. I'm like, it's the weather, you see. I can't speak straight.
Let's have a look. We've got David Fitzsimmons against Zala Ur. And funnily enough, it was, well, it looks very much like the game that David had as black somehow in the previous round. Different opening, but somehow an isolated queen's pawn, 2 bishops.
The nice thing about this event is, like, even after 2 rounds, everybody was off the mark.
Yeah.
Like, the people who'd lost in the first round were, like, winning in the second round, and it's a sort of it's a nice mix of players, and everyone's getting some points, so that's quite nice.
Yeah, no, that's no, it's a fun event actually. I'm enjoying this tournament an awful lot. I hope the audience is too, but we're getting across just how exciting the games are because they really are good. So all right. So this is a Caracan Bishop D3. This line's got very popular recently with White. All sorts of things being tried. Quite interesting here. I mean, there's a very famous game, Fischer Petrosian, from the match of the century, rest of the world versus USSR, where he played Bishop F4. David plays H3 here, and in principle, this gives Black the possibility to play E5, break in the center. What could be wrong with that? But yeah, it's rather annoying. It's not. You just end up with this isolated queen's pawn position that is all right for black. But again, it's one of those things that's very easy for white to play. I mean, I always talk about entrenched pieces, and in positions where the opponent can entrench his pieces on squares, and it's very hard to drive them away. It can be very hard to get activity. And well, if you're looking at this position, the D4 square, white can put any number of pieces on that square, particularly a bishop on D4. And it's just very hard to shift white from that very good central structure. So yeah, I'm always a bit wary of playing positions like this as black. So H6.
Downby Larson, Kevin's saying, is a model game in this line.
Oh, right, okay. Bishop E7, Bishop E3, castles, Knight BD2. So very simple play here. Rook E1, Bishop B7, and now we start wondering how we're going to use the D4 square. And it's one of the things as well that you notice very much with the neural net engines. AlphaZero started it off, of course, is that whenever the engines get an outpost like D4, what they do is it's hard to understand why they're making progress, but they just end up shifting all of their pieces around that outpost. First the knight gets it, and then the bishop. And this is what David does very nicely. The knight goes to F5. And then the bishop comes to D4. So you're just using this as a sort of a stepping off point towards the black position. And this is pleasant for white. Black's definitely under pressure here. So Zala is driving away trying to drive away the knight there. Does it very rigorously actually with G6 and then Bishop C8. Feels like there should be some sort of tactic somewhere, but I don't.
For white.
For white, I don't see it immediately, but it just feels like.
Like knight H4 to try and take on G6 sort of thing.
Yeah, knight H4, knight, I don't know, H6, one of those things. It just feels like we should have something good, but yeah, can't see it. So well, David just played a nice idea actually. Queen H4, bishop takes F6, the queen moves away, and now bishop D4, and we're just threatening.
Queen F6, for example.
Indeed, with carnage.
Dominate the long diagonal.
Indeed. So yeah, no, it's a little bit of a problem there for black. I mean, presumably something like Queen D8, I suppose, is going to be played, or maybe Queen C6 to cover F6. But well, yeah, I'm not quite sure how you follow up with this, but I do know that it's not going to be pleasant, because you're always going to have ideas like when you go if black plays something like queen c6, for example, to cover the f6 square, you're always going to have, sideways moves like queen f4 and threatening queen e5. So, you're always going to have little ideas that will have other threats. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, knight f3 could just be an unpleasant idea, threatening knight e5 and then something else. It's so, yeah, I really don't like black's position at all here. I think black's in, no, clear advantage for white, I think, just... So that's quite interesting. This one is a little confusing, or it was, and it still is, maybe a little bit. We've got another bishop b5 check, Sicilian from Ravi.
There you go, Ravi. He's not old.
No, I think he's written. I think he has written a book about this. I think so. I think he has, but my memory's going a little bit. But I think he has done this. It's. The thing is, it's not really fair. I'm always despairing of my memory nowadays because I always had the feeling I had a super memory for chess anyway.
Yeah.
When I was young. But on the other hand, you look at the amount of stuff that I had to remember.
Oh, there's so much stuff you're demanding on your memory. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and now you compare it to now, and it's just ridiculous. It's just so much more nowadays. So it's probably not so crazy that you find it hard to remember stuff, but. A4 is interesting. This is quite different to what Ketty did. I mean, Ketty went c3, queen e2, d4. A4 is what Peter Wells would call a light square strategy. So, white's just going to play d3, knight c3. Looks innocuous. Again, if I'd seen this in my professional days, pre-computer age, I would have said, oh, what a load of rubbish. Complete amateur playing white, playing like this. But yeah, these systems, everything can be made dangerous with the right amount of preparation. And Ravi certainly gets an interesting position here. So a6 played, bishop e2, g6. And actually, white's sort of fainting at maybe playing d4, but this wouldn't be a great d4 system for white. There are pluses and minuses, right? Because this is sort of a Dragodorf where you've played the Najdorf a6 and then g6. And what you've managed to do is you managed to commit the knight to d7 instead of c6, which is quite nice actually normally. But still, this a6 tempo is quite nice. So I don't think it would be anything special for white. What Ravi did, he goes. It's a very modern approach, to be honest. You go. They used to call it, going for the little toe. Which is just trying to get a tiny little gain out of it, which is...
there you go. You are right, Matthew. Modernised Anti-Sicilians, Volume 1, Rossolimo.
There we are. Excellent. So I thought I remembered it. I've reviewed it, I'm sure. Oh, dear me. I read a lot of books. You've got to give me that. So castles, and now just d3. And again, very interesting. Not playing an open Sicilian. Just you've claimed that you've out of the opening you've got this little game that you'll give black a weak a pawn, and that's basically it. And probably the idea for white will be to maybe move this knight out of the way and play f4 and suddenly turn it into some sort of Grand Prix attack. It's not good. It's not a huge idea, but it can just be awkward in a practical game. It's. And I mean, that's one of the big skills nowadays that players have to have. It's not about knowing the mainline opening theory, which is at the end of the day just drawn. But it's about finding ideas that are awkward for humans at the board. And this is just quite a nice one.
Thank you, Loz and Outspanner. So Outspanner is saying, so Loz said, sorry, David got 3 IM norms in a row at 4 NCL to get his title. And Outspanner saying he's the 8th player, 8th Irish chess player to become an international master.
Not bad. That's
very good. I just saw actually recently, didn't Trisha became the first Irish player to become women's international master?
Women's international master, yeah.
Yes. So congratulations to her.
No, but it looks like Irish chess is having a lovely period actually. So,
yes, because her brother also has been doing really, really well.
Yeah, and you've got players like Conor Murphy as well, who
yes,
it's really it's good. It's nice to see that. So yeah, b5 played. I mean, one idea would be to go knight b8. to try and go knight c6 and pick up the pawn. You can defend that in various ways. Even just knight d5, for example, might be tried. So b5 played, just takes bishop b7, and now an interesting passage of play happens. So knight d2 played, and here Jonah plays something that I'm a little bit slightly unsure about. But I think Ravi's idea was that well, if you go queen b6, I'll go knight c4. And if you go knight takes b6, I will go knight b3. And you can't go a6 to a5, so I will play knight a5.
Yeah, that's
and I'm just irritating you, really. I mean, it's, again, you look at this in the pre-computer age, and they'd be saying, what are you playing for, you old man? But in the modern age, this is what you go for, and you're just making an annoying plus and just trying to set unusual problems to the opponent. And this is very nice. So d5 played by Jonah, which is pretty interesting, looking for just trying to play it really actively. I guess something like this. And okay, your pawn structure is a little bit broken, but you're going to have plenty of open lines. The bishop's open and all that. So that's good, active play. But now it starts getting quite intricate. Knight a4 played. A very interesting move from Ravi there. And the idea is obviously knight b6 allows knight takes c5.
Yeah.
So Ravi's giving up the e4 pawn there. I did wonder actually whether Ravi might just play knight c4. Actually, that was what I was expecting, just protecting the pawn and then looking to come round to a5. That looked actually quite interesting to me. But he went for something different, which I haven't actually seen. Actually, well, why not? He went. He just took off like this. Takes. Obviously, knight b6. There's queen takes d8, so that's not possible. Bishop takes e4. So, I mean, it feels slightly risky in a way, what Ravi's done, because you've given up your centre pawn, and you've got this pawn on b6 left, which is a little bit sickly, not really, because it's doing quite a bit of stuff, but yeah, it's not stable. I mean, but Ravi's sort of playing bishop e3 to attack the pawn. Obviously, still can't take because of queen d8. Queen c8, so now this pawn is no longer attacked, and now played again a slightly surprising move to me. Although obviously I don't think I haven't understood the position as well as Ravi, but I would have bishop f3 seemed very natural to me. I mean, because if you get rid of these light square bishops, then looks like you've got some. Looks like there could be some danger.
Threatening b7.
Maybe just rook b8. Maybe rook b8 is possible. Not clear. Rook d1. No, maybe it's not. Okay, so f3 played, and now
White's got a very slight advantage because of that pawn on c5.
Yeah. He's got a slight advantage there, I think, but it's going to be quite interesting. I mean, so what is there? There's bishop f5, which is possible, but feels wrong to move the bishop away from this square. Bishop c6 should allow knight c5. No, knight b6, a6 is hanging as well, so that should probably be quite good.
But could you take on c5 and b2?
You could do. I mean, ae7 is hanging, and I suppose you could also, and you could also play rook b1, but it's not at all clear. We're not. But if this pawn on b6 remains, it's probably quite annoying. You might be able to just play bishop f2 and then c4 to c5, and just. I mean, black's got his a pawn, so it's not. It's not 100% clear. But I'd expect this to be an edge for white. But after f3, the most natural move would be bishop b7, to be honest. And then we're, I guess that black's going to play for queen c6, and then look to try and play knight b6. That would be the most natural.
Yeah.
And now we've got to find something for white here now.
Yeah.
Which is not as easy as you might suspect.
Queen e1.
Yeah, that's definitely a move. And after queen c6, come to a5, I suppose. a5 maybe. Got to watch out. I'm a little bit nervous about these bishops here, actually. Come to think of it, that might be...
I was actually, yeah, because I was actually thinking Queen H4 or Queen F.
Yeah,
Well,
Queen F2.
for the
Queen F2 was my first idea. I suddenly got distracted by. Well, we could go rook A. We could go rook A3, which would probably.
yeah.
Although there's some interesting ideas. Bishop D4 takes Queen E2. Nah, probably not. Well, not sure. This looks a little bit. I mean, maybe Queen F2 here.
Yeah, because you can still go rook A3 if you need to.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, knight B6. How is this? Knight C5, something like knight D5. Doesn't feel like a huge edge to me. You know, doesn't feel like a massive advantage to me.
Yeah.
I'm a bit surprised about F3, to be honest. Doesn't feel like the sort of move I'd really want to play. Just, you know, weakens my bishop on E, because my position was nice and solid, and weakens that bishop on E3 and stops me from going bishop F3. But I've still got to do a job. I've got to try and suggest something better if I don't like it. Well, what are we doing after? This doesn't look so bad for black somehow. Queen C6, you know, and I don't really see why black should have a bad position here. I mean, maybe we're not particularly claiming that. I mean, what I really want to do is I want to go B4, really. But I can't see how to get it in, really. I don't think the exchange sacrifices particularly what I'm
Why do you
looking
even
for.
want to go B4, though?
Well, because, well, for example, just let me, you know, here and then just play some random move, B4.
Yeah.
Then I've transformed this B pawn into a massive pass B pawn protected by my rook.
Yes.
As if by magic. But yeah, the problem is that, you know, after rook B1, I just go Queen C6. I'm hitting the knight on A4, and I'm threatening knight B6. I mean, I could play C4, I suppose, with the idea of knight B6 takes on B4.
Okay, and picking up C5.
Well, unfortunately, there's bishop D4, which is rather ruins that. Takes C5 and Queen F6. Yeah. Not sure. F3, bishop B7. White needs a clever idea here. I just wonder whether, just thinking, you know, was there something else but F3? I mean, you know what? One thing I was thinking about as well was something like even bishop G4 first. You know, do you just want to try and loosen up some dark squares or something, and then go bishop F3 maybe, or I don't know, or Queen D6? I don't know. It's not easy, but I don't think black's actually, you know, I thought black was maybe in a bit of trouble, but no, I think black's looking all right there. I just wonder whether this move knight C4 might have been a bit sneakier for white before. But yeah, I mean, it's a complicated game, so I mean, you can second guess a lot of decisions there. But yeah, still very interesting play, and all to play for both sides. Oh, this is a good game. This is
okay. Let's see it.
Yeah, somehow Joe. Oh, it's a draw already.
It's over. Yes, it's all over.
Well, let's have a look, because somehow Joe managed to really provoke Marcus. It was quite funny here. So in English, Joe. I think Joe. Yeah, I've seen Joe playing this a lot. B4, and here Marcus played E4, which is interesting. Trying to exploit the fact really that White hasn't played D3, so playing E4. You know, and the idea, I suppose, if B5, we could even think of playing knight E5, maybe. You know, just hitting the pawn on C4. Not 100% sure about that idea, but yeah, interesting. But Joe played F3, which is, you know, sort of hitting the pawn. And so now we get E3.
Ooh, this is fun. This is very fun. Nice, you obviously can't move the D pawn because the knight on C3 is on freeze.
Yeah, that's right. And, you know, obviously, since White's played F3, the bishop on G2, which is normally a monster, is a bit out of it, really. So so Joe played b5.
I was thinking knight d5.
Knight d5 would be a very reasonable move. I can definitely confirm that rumor. b5 was played, takes, knight e5, and then Joe just played f4 and gave the pawn away. So knight c4, queen d3, knight d6, and now wackadoodie.
Oh my
goodness,
what are you doing?
H4,
very nice.
English opening. You know, what can you say? But I mean, it's not bad at all. I mean, you know, obviously the bishop c8, rook on a8, knight on d6, stopping d6. So not bad at all. And the whole idea of this h4, h5 is just to sacrifice.
He's still going. He's still going for it.
Yeah, but it's quite good because obviously, you know, knight e4, that control of e4 was quite good for black. And now, yeah, at the cost of the exchange, you've stopped it. So bishop a3.
Try this at home, kids, says Loz. Yes.
No, I mean, to be honest, what I was thinking kind of, but I don't know. It's maybe too much. I mean, I was thinking about taking and going b6 in this position.
Now, what's this all about?
Well, I want to do something like this, actually. And
that bishop on c8's not getting out in a hurry, is it?
I've just seen two Fischer random games on the TCC where they started with a bishop on a8 and it never got out. So that's what, you know, I'm sort of thinking. I mean,
Ebbs did that to me before he got my bishop stuck.
So you're a lot of material down, but I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure what are you doing. I mean, why is just going knight f3, king f2, rook h1, and then I've no idea.
So is this any good?
I think it's, I don't know. I'd be claiming, if I was white, I'd be claiming it was winning for white, but I don't know. It's oh, okay. What does the engine say? Let's just have a quick look at this. What do you think, Mr. Engine? Computer analysis? Oh no. Computer analysis. Come on, engine. Well, you see, the engine is so amazed.
It doesn't know what on earth to make.
It doesn't know what to say. It's wait a minute. Should we? I'm interested there. Let's have a little look. Switch this off. I'll try it on my engine. Harvey. Let's have a look. So what line was that? That was
16 instead of knight f3. You're taking.
Am I going to go for? I'll go for Stockfish. All right then.
Yeah.
Come on, do it. No, he wants. Oh, well. Oh, he does. He wants it. He wants something. Well, something very similar. What Stockfish wants is bishop takes d6. Takes bishop d5 check, king h8, knight f3. Obviously, you can't go b6 yet because of
taking a8.
He's completely winning actually. And if I go rook b8 to get free, then
b6. Then
he wants b6. Then I think, of course, he does. Yeah, b6. Yes. Ah, makes me so proud. There we are. Maybe learn something from these from the engines after all. But yeah, that looks really strong. That looks just unbelievable. What a beautiful game that would have been, actually. So Joe went knight f3, and actually Marcus played a very clever move here, which is knight f7. So giving back the exchange, but you know, just making sure that his pieces are going to get developed. And well, we got quite a nice little end, but a bit of a shame really. C6 takes knight c7 and knight a6.
Okay, and repeat
by repetition.
Yeah.
Knight c7 and knight a6. But yeah, I think bishop d6 would have
that would have been fun.
That would have been gorgeous, wouldn't it? It would really have been beautiful. And yeah, well, nice that Stockfish thinks so too. So that is a draw, but a very nice game. I mean, a quick draw, but a nice game. So yeah, not bad at all. And then we have the final game, which is Tim Lemur against Conor Murphy. Sorry, it's end of the week. Just forgive me. I haven't started singing yet, so.
What do you mean yet?
Well, if there's cause for it, then.
Did the lemonade arrive?
So, oh no, my well, I only 32 bottles of my lemonade arrived.
Okay.
The premium luxury lemonade, the real one, that one got cancelled.
Oh dear.
So I'm currently
run of the mill standard lemonade then.
Well, no. I'm currently binging on elderflower lemonade and mandarin and Seville orange jigger, which sounds a little bit. Yeah, well, I don't know how it sounds, but it sounds
a bit what?
It's. I don't think there's anything suspicious in it, really.
Okay.
But anyway, it's very nice. Very refreshing. So d4, d5, knight c3, and now this move bishop f5 from Conor.
Knight c3.
Yeah, I've been playing masses of this in Bullet. So the old Verisov, because I read a book about the German player Gerhard Richter, wartime player, and he played the the Richter, the Verisov Richter, as it's known. He played it an awful lot, and an awful lot of very nice games. So I sort of got inspired. I don't really have any other openings either. So bishop f5, and this is a little bit early, bishop f5, really. And now white plays f3. This is supposed to be quite good for white. Knight f6, and now g4. Tim going all in. This is quite dangerous for black. I mean, bishop g6. G5 is unusual. I did think that... I thought that you just played h4 in this position, to be honest. But Tim went g5. Oops. e5. Sorry, I'm messing around. Knight h5 and e4, which is fair enough. You've taken away black's control of the e4 square, and you're just in the center there. And obviously, if black doesn't react, then white's just going to have a very nice position. Is that true, what I'm saying? Well, there's a risk that you could have a nice position. I'm not quite sure. I mean, this knight is a bit rubbish on h5, really, but you might be able to get an h6 or stuff like that. I mean, yeah, e6 feels a little bit risky, but maybe it wouldn't have been such a bad idea. Just if I get h6 in, then I might get to h4, or you can't go h4 because of knight g3. So might have been an interesting idea. But Conor went all in with e5.
Everybody's really going for it today, aren't they?
Yeah, no, maybe it's the heat. I mean, people just say, "Oh, I can't be bothered for a long game." I just want. And now Tim played something which surprised me slightly again. I was maybe expecting e takes d5, to be honest, but he played d takes c5.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I don't. This is all. I mean, this is just very complicated. I'm not quite sure what you should do, to be honest. Maybe knight c6 is interesting. I don't know. Conor played d4. Knight c2, knight c6, and now bishop g2 from Tim. And well, that's actually protecting the e4 pawn. So white's actually getting ready to play f4. So conceivably, after knight e5, well, d4 is also hanging, but you could also consider playing f4 and then f5 to trap the bishop on g6. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure about that one, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's very, very confusing stuff. So we can maybe have a look at it later. But so Conor played bishop b4 check, c3. D takes c3, B takes c3.
Yeah.
Bishop c5, check, takes, and now f4. And Conor's got to deal with this idea of f5, just trapping the bishop on g6. Although it's not, it's not 100% clear, because after f5,
knight e5,
knight e5 and knight d3. I don't know. I mean, it's a really complicated position, this one.
Because after knight d3, you got to go king f. one, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, I think the real worry for black is that white isn't going to hurry and just leave you with these pieces on G6 and H5 that aren't doing very much. I think that's the main worry. Yeah, so Connor played F6, and now something. So Tim took, and now didn't play F5.
F5, because you can trap the bishop at the end.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't think this would be what Connor was aiming for, but I imagine that if you'd gone F5, he would have taken on E5, takes, probably check, King F1, I guess, and now HG. Yeah, I mean, we've got one pawn for the piece. I don't know, really.
It's not much for a piece.
It's not
But
much.
the king is a bit trapped in.
Yeah, but I guess you go knight H3 to stop knight F2, maybe. Get ready to go bishop F3. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. There's some rook D1s that you've got to be a little bit careful about. Oh, wait a minute. Would that maybe be the cunning point? Maybe you could just go knight F2 straight away because you're threatening rook D1 checkmate. That might be. That would probably be a little bit more annoying.
Oh, so you'd have to come out with your bishop, probably.
Yeah, there's not really a great square for it, really.
H6. Oh, but then they go just HG.
Well, actually, come to think of it, A3 would be the best one.
Knight takes rook. Oh, then you take on C5. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a bit annoying. But would you have something? Would you have something more cunning? Not clear. Not sure.
Maybe G7 first.
It's black to move.
That's a pain.
Yeah. I mean, or am I missing something clever? I'm not sure. Yeah, I can't think of anything else except for this, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, and this does look very natural.
Good.
I'm not sure. Is this anything like compensation or? Not sure. I mean, I could play a move like I could take, and go rook d2, for example. I mean, you're a bit constricted with white, but it's just this knight on h5. I'm not particularly happy with. I don't know. Unclear, this one, or rather unclear. I mean, what I mean is unclear in the sense, does black have enough counterplay?
Yeah.
But maybe I'm missing something clever there. It is close. But okay, Tim went e6, which feels a little bit. So
he was trying to cut that line out then.
Yeah, f5 and e5. But now Connor plays knight g7, and well, you're not any material down. Tim's gone h4. But yeah, I mean, something like knight e6, for example. Well, you've got to watch out here. Maybe h5, bishop f7. Is Tim going to attack this pawn? I don't know. Probably white's still doing quite well. I mean, you can. It's just very unclear. I mean, the bishop can come back here, and then we get knight c5 into d3. This is just a total mess, I think. So, I mean, probably Connor will be quite happy. I mean, obviously he's two bishop f5 was really showing some aggressive intentions, and well, he's probably got exactly what he wanted, I think. So, I mean, even bishop h5 is not so stupid. The cunning idea of knight g3, rook d1 checkmate. So that might also be a.
He can do that now, can he? Bishop.
They can go bishop h5 and then take on e6 later. That might be a good idea. It looks quite nice, doesn't it?
Good, doesn't it?
Looks quite cute.
Yeah.
Yeah. I quite like black, to be honest. I quite like black. I think I do think you had to go. I do think if you can do it, and vaguely survive, then you really should be going f5 in this position. Okay, very interesting game there. So yeah, we're sort of spoilt this time. So let's have a look. How has Ketty done? So
yes. Okay, so we left her 1 pawn up.
Bishop h6 and knight d2. Yeah, this is what I suggested. And now Daniel's trying to shake things up here. f5 takes, knight b6, so weakening the pawn. I mean, yeah, f3 was possible, but yeah, I think this is probably better. I mean, Ketty going for full activity here, which is, I think never a bad thing to do. And yeah, I mean, actually, Daniel's in all sorts of problems here. I mean, d6 is weak, f6 is attacked. The black king is rather weak, and White's just intending. White's got so many ideas here. I mean, you can just play something like f3 and develop your king, or play king f1 just to get out of that. And I mean, also moves like c4 followed by takes and takes. I mean, whatever's happening, you're just you're always going to be on the comfortable side of a draw here, and probably much more than that. So yeah, I think Ketty's done it very nicely. So yeah, looking good for White there. Oh, bishop e6 played. H3 played, and now
Cutting out
rook
any
c8.
back rank. And rook
It's now rook c8. So this is where we've, yeah, interesting moment in the game here. So obviously knight c3 isn't possible because the bishop on e7 hangs. Not very easy really for black to find the next move really. I mean, maybe we should simply play rook b7, with White here. Just attack this pawn on b5 and just keep it in reserve for later. Maybe someday you'll take the swap off and you'll come back to b7 and, it'll just be good. And then you can, maybe play king h2. Who knows? Maybe play g4, restrict the opponent's king, whatever. This really looks very good for White. So we will see. And, well, I mean, the only thing about it is that Daniel has played unbelievably fast. He's got 1 hour and 6 minutes left, and Ketty's down to 11 minutes. So yeah, I think Daniel's probably decided, okay, well, we're just going to play as quickly as possible and hope for the best, really. So
Daniel, has he been playing much chess recently? Because I know he took quite a break, didn't he, from chess?
I don't think he's been playing much, to be honest.
So he might be kind of rediscovering chess and deciding whether he wants to spend a lot of time thinking about it or not.
Maybe could be. I don't think he's played very much whilst he's been away from England.
He was definitely playing some, wasn't he, in Australia? But I don't know how much as well.
There's a limit, of course, to how much you could have played in the past 2.5 years. So
that's true as well. Yeah.
But okay, it's certainly under pressure there. Let's have a look. So Zala played g5, queen g3, rook e8, rook e5, king h7, knight f1. That's quite nice from David there. Just, I mean, you're sort of, again, you're sort of playing around those sort of outposts. So, the knight's now coming round to e3, bishop e4, and I expect knight e3 is coming in. Although, wait a minute. Wasn't bishop d6 possible here?
Oh, bishop there. Let me see. You could take on d5.
No, you're gonna. No, it's quite cunning actually. Yeah, you can. You just you're gonna take and go check. Then there's this vicious little check here.
Oh, and knight takes g3 check.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Draw, isn't it?
King h7, and I go rook g7. That's the main one, and I'm guessing that this is not working. Would be amazing. Would be amazing if it did. Yeah, you could claim that that you're going to survive, but I would imagine that that's probably not true. Probably rook h8 is quite good.
Yeah.
So all right, so bishop e4 played. I don't know whether that makes this trick work, because you could conceivably escape. You know, if you went a3 now, you went bishop d6, rook e8, bishop g3, rook check and rook check. You could conceivably come out here and then come to e6. So
Maybe you should take the bishop first before the other check.
You could do. Oh, wait a minute. Here. Knight takes g3.
Yeah, because then if you do rook g8, then you have to go to h7, which you don't want to do.
Yeah, I guess maybe you go f6 here, but when you go rook f8, this is looking pretty good for white, so probably not a good idea to do that. Well, so then the only question is whether, I mean, I think knight e3 will work, because this is going to work again, isn't it? I think we'll just go check and check. You'll come round to h5, and then I'll come here. I think the likelihood is that you're going to get mated here.
Yeah.
So, although in a blitz game you'd never be sure, but yeah. So I would guess that that knight e3 is possible here. Now, this is very pleasant. I mean, black's got to do something very quickly here, because white's gone f3, which might also be a very sensible move. Although
f3.
Well, I think the idea was to chase away the bishop. So, for example, here you can go knight e3. I think that was the idea.
Yeah.
Which is probably true. If bishop d6, you can probably go rook takes d5 here. That's probably going to be okay.
Yeah.
I don't know whether I don't think it would work if you. But rook d5 is probably okay. Although makes me a little nervous somehow, but getting this somehow, but it does look
on g3, yeah.
On g3,
the king's really stuck in a bit of a box there.
It's probably all right. It's probably all right. Not sure. I think knight e3 was stronger, to be honest, but well, we'll see where what black decides. It's quite tricky for black. I mean, it's not a pleasant position at all. I mean, you could even ask something like bishop d3. You could even just take and go knight e3, and you're hitting d5 and also looking for knight g4. You know, I mean, there's it's a promising position for white. This Ravi. Oh, bishop c6 from Jonah. He wasn't at all impressed with my beautiful analysis of. Oh, okay. That's a bit risky. He's gone for this line. Knight takes c5, takes bishop f3. Now, obviously, b4. Bishop takes f3 allows queen c5 check.
Yeah.
Which is fair enough. And unfortunately, you might even consider it if you could get a pawn onto b7, but you go rook d8 and then simply take on b6 after. So that's not good. But he's gone bishop f2. Bishop to b7, and now c3 from Ravi.
So how are we? 5 pawns each. And so that b pawn, is it strong or weak? It looks quite nice to me.
Yeah, e5 from Jonah. So Jonah's going for the just a big march of the E and F pawns. He's just going to go f5, f4, e4, e3, f3.
Okay.
So Ravi had better get something in place before that all happens. I wonder about his last move, actually.
c3.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really care about that b2 pawn. I mean, something like this would be my first thought. You know, just I'm just looking to go rook c7, rook c5 to c7. I find c3 a little bit slow, really. But okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So e5. So what about now then? Rook a5.
Yeah, you can do it, but you just a move down, really.
Yeah.
it's a little bit less. It's not really a useful move. If you want the c pawn to move, you want it to move to c4. Not to c3 really. I still think I'd prefer to be white, and yet there are a few tactics here because actually, just say a random move. I don't know, rook c1, nothing. You go queen c6, and after bishop f3, you just go e4 and e3. You're winning on the spot, actually.
Don't do that.
So actually, there's some threats already here, which is a little bit worrying, actually.
So, with that bishop on f2, you don't want there, right? Oh, but if you move it off, then they'll go queen c5 and take your b pawn, so that's not so.
Yeah, if you put it to e3, it's going to be in the way of f5, and
yeah.
I think really this rook a5 move was important to make sure that the queen doesn't get settled on the long diagonal. I think once you get this in, pawn comes up. I'm sure you should be doing quite well. But I'm a little bit nervous now.
So what were you saying? So if rook a5 now, queen c6, and then bishop f3, and you.
Sí, señora. No está bueno.
Don't like it.
Oh,
there. There. Oh, yeah, but no, wait. There must be something now. Yeah.
No, I don't see it. Which is obviously not a guarantee for there not being anything, but I don't see it. I really think c3 is too slow a move in a very sharp position. Really, I think that's the thing.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, you could even have considered b4. This was the other thing, right? And
just give up the whole rook.
Just give up the whole rook. But just to have this bishop on c5 pawns, and you're going to try and go c4 and c5 later. Not 100%, hardly clear, but I feel that's more what you should have been trying to do than this rather quiet move. Because I don't think it matters about that pawn, to be honest. But okay, we'll see how all that goes. But very, very interesting. So yeah, that game we've seen already. And now, Connor.
H4. Okay.
H5 is what he played.
He's done it. Bishop h5 threatening mate if you go knight g3.
Yeah, so knight f3 played. And now I guess that we're going to play knight takes c6, I suppose. That looks very natural. And if you go knight g3, I can go, bishop g4, which is quite decent, because still, if you try and get rid of that guy, then rook d1 check is still mate. So, yeah, I don't know. I quite like it. I quite like Black's position here. Well, certainly, White's got I feel like the onus is on White to sort of show that he's not going to lose something in some way, because one big plan for Black here is to go bishop b6 and then knight c5 into d3, which could be quite unpleasant.
Can White still castle? Like bishop d2, say, and then castle long?
That would be tricky.
It's the king's moves, is it?
Apart from that, there's a rook on d8 as well. So
no, bishop d2.
Oh, d2. No, I don't think the king's moved, actually, come to think of it, because he took on d8. No, you're right. He could go bishop d2. It's a bit... maybe. Feels a bit... But it's possible. It's possible. Of course, I'm not coming up with any better suggestion myself, so criticizing is easy, but I'm not sure. Actually, I don't like this for White. I'd much rather be Black here. Actually, there's even possibly some threats. Well, if you just get a rook g8 in, don't like it. Don't like it very much for White. Maybe it's all right, but yeah, I think White had a lot better before. I think White had really had to take that the piece whilst had the chance. So okay, let's go back to Ketty and see what's happening there. Rook c8. Russian technique. King h2. So
She's not Russian, though, is she?
no. I mean just I don't mean like that. I mean the good technique that you get everything together first of all. You don't rush or anything. You play h3 and king h2, and it's all ready for the endgame. So knight b3. That's a very nice move, actually. Or is it a nice move? The idea is very nice. So the idea basically is that whilst the you can play a move like this, basically. So the fact that this rook is on this square, that gives you that opportunity. I just wonder, though, whether can we play this move bishop f5?
Here, bishop f5.
I think I'll just go knight a5 and then just go f3. I think that's the rather annoying point, that you don't actually need this knight on d2 to defend this knight, because after takes, then the bishop on e7 is going to be hanging. So maybe you can just do it like this.
Yeah.
Nah, it's rather awkward. It's still very awkward.
That bishop, yeah, the bishop on e7.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be there, right? It has to cover f6. Oops, has to cover f6. It has to cover d6. But you know, it's just a bit of a nightmare, really. So yeah, it's a nice plan just to bring the knight to a5. You're not 100% sure, you know, what it's doing, but you'll go f3, defend the knight on e4, and then you'll try and work out what your next plan is. You know, it's which might just involve just going rook b7, you know, and then attacking the pawn on b5 again. Kitty's playing this really nicely, but not much time. It's costing her time. King h2, knight b3. So yeah, it's not going to be easy. Not going to be easy. I mean, and Daniel's playing at amazing pace there. Still 1 hour left on the clock there. So well, we'll see. But yeah, not at all easy to find a move for Daniel. Let's have a look. What has happened here? So f3 played, and Black still thinking 11 minutes already. Quite a bit behind on time now.
Yeah. So we were talking before about lines with bishop d6, and then there was all this stuff with rook.
Yeah.
Rook h8 and that sort of thing. But first,
maybe you should put the bit. Well, the problem with playing bishop b1 is that we've got this move queen e1.
Yep.
Which hits, the bishop and the rook. So
you have to play rook takes.
It forces this, and this is
But
appalling.
then that's looking at h8.
That is curtains. So actually, come to think of it, if you go bishop d3, probably not. But I mean, even f4 would be something you have to consider, just with the threat of taking queen d3. Probably not the best, but I mean, it's just to say there's tactics everywhere here, really. Probably bishop d3 is going to be the best, and then well, rook takes c8 or knight e3 would be quite decent. Maybe this is the safest way of playing. Just do it like this. Queen e6. Maybe I go queen b8. Bishop g7. King f2. Is that good technique? I'm not 100% sure. Something like this will be very good. I mean, it's a very pleasant position for white. With that open king, I mean, you've even got moves like, you know, h4 just to open stuff up as well. It's just you can just think of so many things that could go wrong for black, and not really that many things that could go wrong for white. So yeah, difficult position for black. Whack. Queen A4 played. Ah, that's
Queen
cunning.
A4. Okay. Stops Queen C6, or at least
Indeed.
you can swap.
Indeed. So Jonah plays an unusual move. Hadn't expected that. Played E4. Okay, and now Bishop E3 from Ravi.
Oh yeah, that's better. We wanted to move that bishop.
Yeah, okay.
But you're saying no, but F5, F4 now is a bit.
Well, that's right, but it's going to be a little bit tough to get it in. So yeah, E4. I wonder about E4. But okay, yeah, complicated position. So so what are we going to do here with black? That is the question. Not really sure. What E4 is a bit. Not so happy about giving up squares like that somehow.
Black's going to go bishop E5.
Amazing. This girl is good. It's bishop E5. I might even just go queen B8 and just try and weaken this king side and then come and attack it again. Yeah, I'd like to get. I mean, normally speaking, I'd like to get my rook into play. You know, just rook AD1. I'm just wondering what black's idea is here.
Improve the queen now.
Could go bishop C6 and queen B7. Yeah, doesn't
Yeah.
quite feel right. And it could go queen B8. I mean, that's one idea. Hitting this one.
Yeah. But I mean, what? Just H3 or something?
Yeah, I was wondering whether whether you could then sort of. I mean, I could even just give up the pawn. I have the feeling, and it would be quite dangerous. So, yeah, I'm not sure. Rook D1. That looks very sensible. I mean, I guess bishop C6. I mean, I think you've got to stop. You've got to try and stop the white pieces from invading. You can't let them.
I was just thinking, black would probably want to swap queens now.
Not sure. I'm a bit, a little bit worried about that B pawn in the ending, and the influence that it would have. A little bit nervous about that. I mean, I could go something like queen B3 then. Maybe look for bishop C4. Maybe I go king G7 then. Maybe this is the idea. This is what he's looking for, maybe. To get this sort of set up, and then you can play F5. No, maybe. It feels a bit loose. Feels very loose for black. You have the feeling that at some stage, if you start getting an exchange sacrifice or something from white for the dark square bishop, that the whole thing's collapsing. But it's very. I mean, it's very.
Black should maybe go with the A pawn.
Damn it. So look, so rook D1. You want to play?
No, I mean after the queen went back. So like when we got there and there, like A5 now.
Okay. What I actually wanted to do in this position was, is this possible? Just want to brilliantly give up the exchange and demonstrate my grandmaster understanding.
Okay. Fine, you do that.
And I'll just take your pieces.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure. This I think if that
A4.
nice A4, indeed. Then I will go queen C4. Let me just do that one.
Yeah. Queen Got to be careful, really, there. Queen e6.
Now that's.
So you're going to just take both my bishops, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to do that, you should do it on the previous move. I think you should go Queen e6 now.
I don't want you to take both my bishops. Yeah. Okay, that one.
Well, yeah, no. But then I was looking at this one. It's not so. It's a bit uncomfortable like this. I don't know. It's maybe an idea to do this. He's gone rook d1 anyway. I think that's natural. So we'll have to see what. But I do like the idea somehow of giving up a rook to get rid of one of those bishops, and because I think this pawn is just going to be a really nice long-term advantage. It's going to make an awful lot of exchange sacrifices possible. Just because you've got this guy just in that dangerous position. So I think that's something that looks like the quickest thing that you can try anyway. Okay, let's have a look. It's going to be an interesting game. Tim Wall.
Tim and Connor and.
So Connor went rook d3, and Tim went knight g5,
defending that pawn on e6.
Ooh, interesting.
So black could win a pawn, but
I mean, the thing is that black does have white does have rook h3 to defend and swap off the rook there, so it's a tad annoying, maybe. The question is, I mean, if we could get our rooks doubled up on the d file quickly, that might be. That sounds tempting.
So all right, castle.
I'm wondering about castle, maybe king e6.
King, yeah, okay. Keep the e pawn under control.
Yeah, keep that e pawn under control. Give yourself knight e6 as a possibility.
Yeah, fine.
I think if you get in rook d8, then you're just completely winning, basically. So rook h3. Well, okay, let's just go rook d8 then. Do it like that. Takes. Still a little bit nasty. But not 100% clear. I mean, if I go knight h7 here, knight e6, knight f6, for example, it's not 100% obvious how I'm breaking through somehow. It's I don't quite see it somehow. This looks dangerous, but I'm not 100% sure. I could go h6, of course. And I think probably the idea is to go rook h3. And if takes, then knight takes. Although you have to say that this actually looks like quite a nice improvement for white somehow. He's gone h6. Okay. This might have been Connor's idea then. So we could go knight f7 there. That is possible.
Where does that knight go next? Takes the rook.
Indeed.
So we better take it off.
Well, give up the light square bishop is not. It's not the dream. I mean, I could go short castles.
Okay. Knight 6.
It must be. You could go there, knight f7.
Yeah. Now we're threatening knight g5, so you better take it.
I'll take that. Yeah, I'm just.
Knight g5. If you take my knight on g5, I'm going to h takes and your bishop's pinned.
Yeah, I'll come here. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure at all about it. It's a really confusing position. He's gone rook h3. But I think this is just very nice for. I think knight f7 was better. I think this looks very nice for. This looks very nice for black. Because I think if I go knight g3, which would look maybe attack this bishop, I think I can go rook g8 here.
Oh.
Chopper-Rooney, which is suddenly completely disastrous. So I think just rook h3 is actually rather nasty. So I think Connor's doing pretty well now, would be my feeling. And just the threat of rook g8 next move is quite dangerous. I mean, still a bit messy, but I think that the black's getting on top here. It's now Connor's played very aggressively, so obviously anything he gets out of this is all to his credit. It's looking a little bit ropey at one stage, but let's have a look. How is this going on? Oh, we've had quite a few moves now. Rook c7. Wow, takes. Knight d2. Okay, so the knight's moved back. e3. Knight e6, g4. Takes d5. Oh, we've got getting some liquidation here now. Somehow Daniel seems to... Has that improved? Probably has improved, sort of. But still not easy. Interesting question now how black should...
What about d4?
Yeah. I guess... Do I take even? Maybe I don't take. Maybe I just go bishop d2, actually. That was probably more clever. Because after dc, then my bishop's on c3 attacking e5.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do? I mean, I'm coming in with knight e4 soon, so not sure whether maybe you should play king f7 first, just get your king active. Oh, he's gone d4 already.
Yeah.
So
what about like knight g5?
Yeah, I'll just go king g2, I think. You're not really getting through there. So bishop d2. I mean, I could take, go knight d4.
Yeah.
Could even go f4, ef afterwards. I'm threatening knight c6. That's the idea. If I could go knight e4, knight c6, knight c5, for example. And, well, I'm going to have this past h pawn, or at least I'm going to have it. Oh, so bishop d2, d takes c3. I'm not 100% sure about this. It feels like for a moment black had a nice position. Okay, he's gone knight d4. But don't I just play knight e4 now? I mean, I'm even going to have f4 as well as an idea. So if you go king f7, then I go f4. Is that true? Maybe not so true. Maybe I just go king e6.
Knight, yeah, all right. Knight e2 at some point.
It's possible.
Oh, but you go bishop. Oh, no, you can't go bishop e5 because of bishop e4.
Possible. I mean, I think I have to go knight e4. I can't really imagine another knight move doing it. I mean, I need to protect against knight c6. So there, king f7, and then what? I mean, f4 does look like the really natural move, but then king e6. Obviously, I can't move with my king.
Oh, they've gone knight e4 and then knight c6.
Knight c6 straight away. Wow. Interesting. Okay, well, I'm imagining... well, yeah. Not completely necessary, actually. I mean, I could just go king g3, I suppose. The question is this anything at all? Oh, good lord. Is this anything at all? It's knight and 3 versus knight and 2. Some weak pawns.
Oh yeah, because you're going to take the b pawn.
Some weak pawns. I mean, they're never trivial, these endings, but I'd imagine the drawing chances would be fairly high. King G3, but Ketty's just done it. Yeah, it's the mark of an experienced player, to be honest, that you just you don't mess around with other stuff.
Well, she only has a minute left.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, you'll be happy to get that sort of position. I mean, maybe Daniel's going to think about taking on b4 with a knight, give up the e5 pawn, and then try and run the b pawn. Not stupid, although not easy to achieve. Maybe another good idea would just be to go king f7 here. I can go h4. I mean, this is the key point, and if you go king e6, then I'll go h5, which is rather irritating.
That's nice, having a pass h4.
Yeah, it's a nice thing to have. But I don't know. I mean, maybe takes. We go bishop b4. Yeah, but I mean, it's yeah, you're still going to be. I mean, at the very least, you can still always win the b pawn. So yeah, White's just playing from a position of strength all the time. But it could well be that Daniel's got this back to something looking like a draw.
Yeah, this looks like drawable though, doesn't it? Or
yeah, this feels like
big chances at least.
Big chances to swap stuff off. So he's done very well. He's done very well there because he wasn't looking at all promising. So very interesting, tough defense there from the English GM. Okay, Black's played bishop d3. Rook e8 takes knight e3. Yeah, that's what we said. Queen e6, queen c7. I think that's more or less what we were thinking. So yeah, and I think if you go something like, for example, bishop g7, I think we'll just go. Ooh, thank you very much. Ha!
What have you got?
Well, look at this. Look what my mum's brought. Come on, say hello to the stream. It's the stream. Hi.
Hello.
So I've got some little nibbles and a glass of English wine. So yum. Let's have a look. What have we got? Yeah, so this is just going to be really nice. Takes. I mean, you've got control of the c file. Yeah, queen's attacking a7. I mean, this is going to be very, very pleasant, and obviously very well placed knight against a not so good bishop. So Black has done it. Bishop g7. So yeah, I mean, I think we'll see king f2, and yeah, this is very good chances for White, but not over yet. Black still defending quite toughly. Would have been easy just to fall apart, really, but done very well. Ravi against Jonah.
Yes.
Queen b8 played.
Queen b8. We were thinking about that, weren't we?
Thinking about this. I mean, I was wondering. I mean, you suggest h3, which is obviously a very good move.
It has been played. It looks like.
Has been played indeed. I was just wondering about going rook d7, to be honest, because
yeah.
I mean, I've got some rather big threats against here. I'm also threatening rook b7, followed by taking the bishop, but might be too much of a good thing. But yeah, I don't know. Bishop g3, queen c4. I mean, f7 is really weak.
Yeah, that's true.
It is also a question of other people's pieces, So maybe in a practical game, I would have preferred.
Kevin, that's terrible. Having a glass of Santamillion, watching this and pointless.
So, yeah, h3. So, yeah, I mean, the question is here whether Black's queen can get round to the diagonal. I don't. I'm not. This feels like Black's wasting time and not really making progress at the moment. But yeah, don't know. Not sure. It's looking very good for White, I think, at the moment. I mean, rook d7 is a big threat now as well. Anyway,
Jonah's really on short of time. He's in his last minute.
Oh, good lord. Okay. So king h8, trying to get out of that, but I think we're just going to go rook d7 now, aren't we? And then bishop d4 or something. I think this is going to. I think I'm a bit afraid this is going to go down downhill quite quickly.
Yeah.
Let's have a look. Tim Wall. So, yeah, knight takes h3, knight d8.
He's trying to take the pawn on e6. Oh, we were looking at king e7 to do the same thing.
No, I just wanted to play knight e6 here.
Okay.
Sometimes life can be so simple. But it looks really strong, followed by rook g8. What's knight d8 about? I mean, I think it's a good positional move, but I don't think it's necessary. I think you could just go right ahead and start hitting, as Ulf Anderson always said. Oh, he's hitting.
So I want to go and get ice cream now. Kevin's inciting me.
Good Lord. It's all happening here. I've ordered as well. I've ordered 4 tins of luxury biscuits.
Oh, gosh.
All sorts of different ginger snaps and everything like that. I just felt that I deserved it. It's the summer, so I'm not going anywhere nice. So it's just I've got to make a party at home. So, but knight d8 is a strange move. But I think that blacks just want to play c6, and block in the bishop on g2, and then just sort of develop. I mean, yeah, it's fine. It's sort of a Petrosian, rather slow move, but maybe decent. It's just I'm a bit nervous. I'm a bit nervous about it. A bit nervous that you're going to get. A bit nervous that you're overdoing it, really, and that you're just going to get. You're just going to find that you're missing some moves to do this lovely positional scheme that you want to do. I'm not sure. Well, I have to see how that one pans out, but I do think that knight e6 with the idea of rook g8 look very solid and sensible. Okie dokie. Let's go back to the top board game there. King g3, what have we got? King f7, h4 has been played, king e6, h5.
This is just what we said.
That's what we said. This is now f3 played. But I think that Daniel will now play bishop takes b4 here. And after, which he has, and after takes knight d6 check, then we are going to have a draw.
Okay. Yeah.
So well saved, Daniel. That was a bit of a toughie. I think the time situation,
yes,
that played a role there. And and all credit to Daniel for doing that. It's never easy to play moves fast when you're in trouble. But Ketty's going knight d6, and I think we'll see this being agreed a draw very soon.
Did you think there was a place Ketty could have done it different?
Definitely, but don't ask me where. I think it's somewhere around here. I think. I mean, maybe if it was possible, maybe some move like g4, and then f3, or and then play f3, and then king g3, and then get this this pawn moving. Maybe just to have all that first before you start, before you take any action. That might have been a good idea. And I do think at some stage, playing rook b7 would have been a very nice, useful move. Just to have the b pawn under attack all the time. But yeah, I mean, these technical positions always tough. So I thought knight b3 was a very nice idea, but maybe in retrospect it wasn't that great. It looked like you were activating the knight, but maybe it was doing just as good a job on d2, keeping everything together. So. But yeah, it's tough when you're pawn up. It always is tough. And when your opponent defends this well, then what can you say? Sometimes you just got to say it wasn't to be. But this is going to be a draw. A good start for Ketty, 2 out of 3, and Daniel's got 1 out of 3. But yeah, hopefully playing himself into form there.
Yeah.
So we've got the ending we expected, King G7, and now White's got to decide a little bit. How are we going to do this? I do think actually that you could probably just grab that A pawn.
Take on A7, yeah.
Actually, was it really necessary to give up that A pawn? Why aren't we playing A5 in this position? No, I think that was much better. I think. I can't think why. I mean, if I'm going to give anything up, I don't want to. I'd rather give up my weak D pawn rather than my queen side. I mean, I think A5 looks more sensible, to be honest, because I think you can just take on here. Because if you go Queen C6, well, I've got various ideas, but I mean, I could at the very least play. I've got loads of ideas. I mean, I can just come back. I can go to A3 and go Queen C3, of course. I mean, that's easy. But I mean, I could presumably Queen E7 with the idea of going, Queen E7 check or Knight takes D5. Would also be quite possible. I don't think you've got any. You haven't particularly got any checks there, and I've got a lot of danger there. Needs to be worked out, but yeah, I think we can just take on A7 now. Strange. That's really It's a difficult position, but I would have thought that I'd rather give up. If I'm going to lose something, I'd rather lose my D pawn than my A pawn, because this just makes all the endings rather tricky for black.
Okay, that one is a draw now. Ketty against Daniel.
Okay, fantastic. Then Fitzsimmons, Ravi. So Ravi has played King H8, Rook D7, Queen E8, Bishop D4. Yeah, more or less what we said there. And well, there's a threat of Bishop takes C5 and Rook B7. I mean, yeah. For example, if you go something like Bishop C8. Oh yeah, there we are. It's been done.
No sooner said than done.
Because Queen A4, we go Bishop E5 takes, and Rook F8 checkmate. So yeah, very nice game.
That's nice. So this is the position. So you can't play Queen A4. So you got to play. You can't play Rook F7 because Queen E8. Indeed. So is this just completely lost now?
And Bishop D4 is Queen D4 is check.
Yeah. It's game over.
Game over indeed. So yeah. No, very nice game from Ravi. I mean, I've made some criticisms, left and right, but it's more complicated position where you could think of many different things. But yeah, this has worked out. This has turned out very impressive. And I think Jonah had it wasn't easy to find the path with black to get these pawns rolling, and but I think E4 was kind of a misstep, and it blocks in the bishop. Still going to be very hard to get this pawn moving, and I think after that Ravi made no mistake there. So very nice game, very good game. That leaves us then with Tim Wall against Connor. So Knight D8, Knight D4, Bishop E7.
Attacking the pawn on H4 with check.
Crumbaloonies. These are really mysterious moves.
Well, that one makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, the pawn H4 is not really so crucial,
isn't it? Because black would then have a passed H pawn.
Right, so it's a long way away. I'm worried that my queen side is going to disappear. That's what I'm worried about. I'm worried that I just want to take that pawn on E6 and just have it gone, basically, and I'm a little bit worried. I mean, in all fairness, White's pieces, a knight on H3 and all that are not so great, but it's just.
But can't we, as black, just take on H4, go C6, and we're not in trouble?
Right. We'll have a look. Maybe I'm just getting old and scared. Thing is, I don't know. I mean, I go bishop a3 or something.
Yeah, then we just go back again.
Signora.
He's done it. He's taken on h4.
Yeah, I'm worried about this.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe wrongly, but I'm a bit worried.
I'd prefer if my b7 pawn wasn't. Could go b6, can we still?
Yeah, I mean, maybe
b6 instead of c6. Although that bishop does look quite nice then. But all right, let's do it. Let's do it. b6.
I guess maybe bishop d5.
Fine. c5 as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just feel like I'm losing control. You know, I mean, what I feel is that, you know, Connor's move knight d8. That was, you know, excellent positional idea, trying to keep control of the position. But I don't think you've got the possibility to. And I think just striking back at the white position with, you know, with something like rook g8 was more the way to go. I think. I might, you know, of course, can be wrong, but here I just feel like I'm losing control here. And I've just got all sorts of attacks against my queen side here. There's knight b5 coming in, bishop a3. I mean, this knight's terrible. I mean, that is absolutely true. But yeah, there's still quite a few pieces taking part in the attack. So I'm a bit worried. So c6 played, and now I'm expecting bishop a3, followed by bishop d6.
All right. So can't move the king at all for black. That's the thing. It's got no squares. Absolutely none.
I mean, at some stage I'm going to be threatening rook b7 and bishop c6 check. I mean, that's kind of.
Don't want you to do that. So
you might not be able to stop me. I mean, even bishop takes c6 check, and then bc rook b8 is, you know, it's all happening really.
Okay.
I'm going to eat whilst you calculate.
Thank you.
Oh, it's gone bishop a3.
Yeah.
Both players are quite reasonably short of time, actually, so it's a complicated position now.
I don't like that black's bishops don't have squares and the knight, that both of them don't have squares.
I mean, the one move that vaguely appeals to me is rook h7.
Didn't think of.
I just want to go.
Because it defends the pawn on b7. Yeah, that's a good idea.
I want to do something like this, or at least have the possibility at some stage.
Yeah, I like that.
But it's not very clear at all. I mean, okay, let's just go for it. Wackadoodie.
You what?
Doc.
You can go knight e6 now. Oh no, you can't. Let's check.
Por favor, señora.
Yeah.
This is not. I mean, it's not going to be winning for white, but It looks remarkably irritating, I have to say. I mean, 98, I go bishop d5 or something, and I go c4. I'm just, it's quite a setup there. I don't know. I mean, there's also ideas like bishop c6 check. The idea is takes, and then rook b8 check, bishop there, e7. Which is not winning in this case, but reasonably dangerous. The one nice thing about having played rook h7 is that you could play knight takes c6 in this. This is one of the ideas.
Yeah, defending across the way. Yeah.
He's played bishop e7, so I'm expecting bishop d6 now.
Right. Okay. So bishop d6. Then, what's your threat?
Rook b7.
Rook b7. Yeah. Kevin's drinking wine out of the sun.
Oh, lovely. What sort of wine have you got? I've got an English wine actually, which is really nice.
Where's your English wine from?
It's from Kent. It's Chapel Downs. So it's. I've just been amazed at English wine. Actually, it's just really beautiful.
Well, they say it's getting better and better.
It really is. No, it really is. I mean, the sparkling wine is great, and but there's some really lovely still wine as well. So it's especially white wine. I haven't tried. I've got one bottle of red, which I want to try, but really nice. I was always used to buy New Zealand or anything something like that, but I've just been going all over the white wine because there's so many in England. You just don't believe it how many vineyards there are.
Yeah.
One of these days, I'm going to go on a tour of all the English vineyards. That's going to be one of the holidays. And since I don't drive,
someone will have to drive you. That'll be fun for them.
Yeah, that'll be great, won't it? I was always, when I always used to go every summer. I went on holiday with my parents to visit my aunts. So in the just home in the country. Well, home in the country sounds grand. Just a tiny little house just in a little village in France where my grandparents used to live, and we always went to visit Cave, so vineyards in France. But yeah, I was always the one trying and everything, and they were always the ones driving. So always good memories of that. Let's have a look. Bishop d6. I think black's in. Connor's hasn't got much time left either. So really.
So the threats: rook b7 and bishop c6 and.
That's one of the threats, yeah. I mean, you could also maybe just go knight f2. I mean, I can think of lots of things to improve the position. c4, c5, knight f2 to d3 to c5. So, I mean, black's got to do something very quickly.
Tell you what, if Tim wins this game, he'll have had quite a day today, wouldn't he? It'd be Daniel Fernandez, wasn't it, in the morning?
Especially after losing the first round, I mean, it's no, we'll have had a hell of a day. So. I mean, I wonder whether you should just hit the panic button and do something like b6, for example.
Yeah.
And just try and you're just going to aim for something like this, basically, knight a7, and hopefully that's going to. Hopefully, yeah, it's not clear though. Rook b6, you defend d6. Maybe you've got some way of doing. I don't know. I really don't know. I have no idea what you're doing here with black. I think he must have missed bishop d6, to be honest, when you played bishop e7, because I think that was really another moment where you just needed to. Now, amazing how these things can turn around. Maybe c5 is an idea. Maybe that's a decent idea.
c5 seems to leave a lot of pawns on.
Well, you're trying to chase that knight away so you can take with a the knight on e6 there. That might be decent.
Rook takes.
Well, knight takes. I mean, it's not quite as, because you've got your knight on d4 hanging afterwards.
Yeah.
I don't think that'll be as.
Okay, it's not enough.
It'll be maybe be a bit too much. What you could do, you could go knight c6.
Takes.
No, it's too much. Yeah, I was looking for rook b8, but then we start getting our we're together. We're together there. So I think c5. That's got to be the move. That is the move. And then what?
Yeah.
Saying that Connor's lost on time there. We need an update. I think c5. Yeah, c5. This has to be it. This has to be the move. And then what can we do? Maybe we just go knight b5 or something like this. But maybe this is all right for black. I mean, now I'm going to take with this knight on here. I can go knight a7. But I could take and... well, I could even take on here, for example. I mean, it's not going to be better for black, but it's probably going to be equal. Just have a look to see, just move away from the game and then move back just to see whether we get an update or not. Not yet. Presumably the times weren't quite accurate there. But okay, let's just have a quick look at this game.
Yes, this one. So white took on a...
Okay, no, it didn't.
Did
queen b8
not take on a7.
Should be one a3, bishop a2. That's not bad. That's a good defense. g4, king h7, queen c7, a6. You play to a6 rather than a5. Strange. Queen c2. Oh, that was a little bit painful. White's looking for b3 there to trap the bishop.
Yeah.
The queen g6, knight f5, bishop c4, b3, bishop b5. Is white really making progress here? I'm not sure, actually.
I kind of feel like white is, but like queen c7 or...
Yeah, then I go queen e6. I'm threatening queen e2. I don't know. I mean, I can go queen e7 or queen e5, for example. I mean, maybe it's just maybe this is just super strong still. I'm not sure. I have the feeling that white should have. Sure, white could have just taken that pawn and got the pawn up, and then you know. But still, it's still very, very good for white. It's always very good for white, but you know, just a little bit worrying. King f8 played.
King f8.
Oh my goodness!
Think about that one. Okay.
Well, it avoids rook b7, so that's definitely. But it doesn't feel like a move that's really gonna.
So there isn't much scope for black's pieces.
No, but I think the idea is that
black's threatening e6.
Well, no, b7 will hang. I think what black's waiting for, black's actually, this is a clever move. Black's actually waiting for white to play something like knight f2, and then you'll play c5, and then probably knight e6, and then you're going to be hitting f4. I think that's the idea. So it's sort of a waiting move. Avoiding rook b7 and, yeah, maybe looking for c5 at some stage. I think we just need to... White needs a good move now, which is quite unusual. Normally you need a bad move, but here you need a good move. I mean, I'm actually wondering, could we play a move like just bishop c7 or something?
Threatening bishop takes knight and rook b7. Okay.
So I mean, we go knight e6 probably. I chop. I take there. It's a lot of pawns that are going to be going. I mean, you get a bit active, with black, but I don't know. I mean, I take here, for example, I'm turning bishop d5. You're uncomfortable. Tim's gone c4. I don't thoroughly understand that one. I think now that c5 is a decent idea now.
Yeah.
Because what are you going to... What is white going to do now? I mean, knight b5, and then I go knight takes e6. I don't think that playing c4 has particularly helped you. I mean, actually, it's only given black a square on d4, so... Okay, it's probably about even, I guess. Takes maybe knight here, or maybe bishop takes c7 first. I think black can go c4. I mean, if black-white gets in c5, then that could be quite dangerous because...
yeah, but that's only going to encourage black to play c5.
Yeah, exactly. But I think, I think c5 now is good. I think, I don't know whether bishop c7 was the best, but something like bishop c7. I mean, you have to keep on breaking through, I think. I think that would have been quite decent. But yeah, I mean, obviously, it's tense situation for both players here with little time left and a very complicated position.
This is Matthew relaxing with his wine and snacks.
So nice just to commentate. c5 has been played. Yeah, I was expecting that. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, knight b5, I suppose, seems sensible unless there's something stunning that I've missed. But I don't think so. I think knight b5 now should get some liquidation. I think white's going to be just fine, but and black too, I think. But I think bishop c7, I think, looked quite strong. Let's have a look what's happening on the other board.
Yeah.
Bishop b5. So white's having a little thinky.
Queen c8.
Queen c8. Oh. Yeah, I mean, black could play queen e6 now and force the exchange of... Well, yes, force the exchange of queens. But I guess that we can play... We don't play knight e7 because of bishop d7, which is embarrassing. But I guess we play knight d6, threatening knight c8, bishop d7, and then we go knight f7 and then come round to e5.
E5, yeah. If we get to e5, we're happy.
This should be a very nice... Yeah, this should be winning, shouldn't it? I mean, we just play h4 and then f4. We get a pass pawn and then we create some weaknesses. Should just be winning, technically winning this one. So probably queen c8 is a very good move.
So queen c8, queen e6 takes knight
d6.
d6 forces our way to e5 because you can't stop the knight going to f7 and e5.
No,
you could leave the bishop there, I suppose. Like just go king g7.
Well, this is the point actually. So what I was hoping was that we could go knight c8 and pick up the pawn.
Yeah.
I mean, in all fairness, we could probably... would this even be a win? Takes, and f4.
I wasn't sure that that was a win.
I'm not sure either, actually. Maybe not, actually. Although, no, it must be a win, surely. King here, king here. I mean, we go b4 and we can, block you on the queen side everywhere, but I go h4. And I'm just going to swap everything off, and then, yeah, this must be a win. This must be a win. So, yeah. White's taken and gone knight d6. So I think this is...
yeah.
This is going to be pretty good. Get the knight on e5, push the pawns. It would be amazing if this wasn't a win, and yeah. It's been a little bit, hasn't been completely smooth, but yeah.
Your
So
c5 is...
knight takes, and knight a7, played by Tim. He's threatening bishop takes b7 now. Also possibly something like knight c8 to d6, actually. Who's better and why here, actually? It's not clear. I mean, knight, I'm not quite sure. Knight d4 feels like a decent idea here. I'm threatening bishop e2 takes c4. So, just getting my bishop active somehow. That's one idea. I mean, I could also go bishop g4 to threaten bishop h3 and takes on f4. It's not completely stupid either. But I'm just thinking a little bit, this looks a little bit irritating. Not 100% sure. He's gone knight d4, which I think that's active. That feels like a better move. Yeah, it's really this knight on h3 for white that if it was anywhere else, it was on a good, bit more of a central square, it would really, black would be in big trouble. But this one just isn't doing a great deal. Well, it's defending f4, which is fine, but nothing too amazing. So bishop d5. Okay, that's not a bad move. Stops rook g8 and just defending the pawn on c4. That's probably a very good move, actually. Still a lot of fight in this game left. It's not. I mean, white's gonna.
It's got both knights on the edge at the moment, but that one over on a7 can get back pretty easy.
Yeah, I think maybe we're going to looking to play knight c8 to d6 next. So might be worth playing king d7 just to stop that.
Yeah.
I guess you just go knight b5 though. Not an easy position. Very easy to go wrong in this one. Bishop e2 to d3. Not easy. Bishop e8 played. I don't think that's a good move.
He's got to play it all on increment as well.
Yeah. I think knight c8 check looks a little bit irritating now.
Oh, yeah.
King d7 and then knight d6, maybe something like this. I'm just threatening knight b7. And you've gone all passive. Your pieces aren't hitting my stuff anymore. I think you should just... Yeah. And it's not difficult. That's the problem. It's these are quite simple moves for white. So king d7, knight d6, I think is going to be... I think black's in trouble again now. Because when you go knight b7, you're threatening knight c5 as well. So, it's quite awkward. Yeah. Again, played quite quickly. I'm not quite sure what to suggest, to be honest. Maybe, king c7, I was going to say, followed by after knight b7, maybe knight e6, but we just maybe.
Okay, but it's not so. All right. So what do we do? King f2 g1.
Knight b7. We're playing knight b7.
Oh, knight b7. Oh yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah. Now maybe I think knight d e6 is what we need to do. Just defend the pawn, and we'll probably block with bishop c6 if you. But it's a bit in the lap of the gods, really, whether you're going to hold this or not. I mean, we go knight d6, something like bishop c6. I mean, there's even knight f5 in this position.
Oh, because knight takes, you take on e6.
Yeah, I mean, you're 2 pawns up. Maybe it's not so clear. You know, maybe pawns are falling because this knight's not giving great support to push the pawns forwards. But yeah, I mean, this is very tricky. But I think knight d6 knight 86 is the only move I can really think of. Yeah, he's played it. Yeah,
he's played.
Connor's a very good blitz player, so you would expect him to put up hell of a fight in.
But can't white just now not do anything much? Just like king f2 and.
Yeah, it's possible. Completely possible. Yeah, king f2 to e3 would be sensible. Try and activate this knight on h3. Just, yeah. I mean, knight a5 is also something quite interesting. Could be quite dangerous. Threatening rook b7 check here. And if bishop c6, I take and take here.
Oh, yeah.
So knight a5 could be quite a dangerous. You might have to go back to d8. Okay, but then I go knight f2. Oh, that's horrible. That's really horrible. Well, knight a5 could be a very unpleasant move. Yeah, I think knight a5. Don't like the look of that at all. Now he's done it. Tim's done it.
Tim.
Wow. And after knight d8, yeah, and the point is after knight d8, we just go knight f2. And then the knight's coming around to d3, which is defending here and also attacking. This is getting very dangerous then, you know. So, yeah. He's played rook.
Knight d8.
Knight d8. Okay, yeah. Now knight f2. If he plays knight f2, then I'm starting to think that I don't really know what. Well, I mean, after knight f2, I suppose what you should do is you should go bishop h5, because knight d3 will allow bishop e2 check. You know, that's possible.
Yeah.
So for the moment, you're keeping white under wraps, but yeah, how are you going to do this? Maybe you just go rook b2. You know, that's maybe simple. Just cover that and then just you're threatening knight d3. That would not be silly at all. That would probably be the most sensible. I mean, knight b3 is also not stupid. You know, if you swap off this strong knight on d4, then black hasn't really got that much left, and we're coming in with knight d3 after. Knight f2 played by Tim.
Okay.
Oh, it's looking very good. So knight d6 played, bishop d3. Oh, knight c8 played.
Oh, not going into e5.
Well, I think you can
do it later.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. It's still going there.
Bishop c4, king g3, f4, h4. Knight b8, picking up the pawn. This is just going to be a win now. You're going to have the a pawn, and then you're also going to have a pass pawn on the king side. So yeah, this is going to be a win for David. Nice technical win there. Bishop a4 played. Sneaky. So knight d3, we get bishop c2. That's the idea. But again, I think simply rook b2. Nice and simple. But okay, I guess what we can do then is
Yeah.
we're going to go bishop c2 maybe. Maybe then we go, do we do this knight b3 thing again? Yeah, maybe. Yeah, probably knight b3 is quite a good move there. Not finished, but knight b7 played.
That's what I was about to say, knight b7. But you just go back to e6.
We're coming back here.
So
is
we're
he maybe
not
looking? Is he maybe looking to just to repeat once or something like that, just to? I don't know. Maybe if knight a5, maybe I go rook b8 then. If we're trying to repeat like that. Or maybe knight here, we go knight here. Maybe that's the idea. We're threatening rook b7 check and also threatening knight takes f5. That's possible.
Yeah.
And knight 4 e6 played.
Oh, okay.
It's quite passive. I think we're going to take, aren't we? You have to take back with a knight. And then maybe we just go king e2 or something.
Yeah.
King e2, king e3 maybe. There's always fight. There's always fight, but it's definitely tough there. I mean, this has improved White's position a lot. Now you're just a clear pawn up. I mean, that's and I mean, actually, king e2. You're actually threatening maybe to go rook g1 and invade on the g file as well. So wow, what a day this would be for Tim Wall if he could. So David, winning this very comfortably now. Pawn on e6, going, pass pawn on top.
2 pawns up.
A pawn here as well. So knight e6 now will just protect the pawn, and it's just a total win there. So Tim once again.
Yes.
Rook b2 played.
Okay.
That's possible. I mean, we've got knight d3.
Oh, and bishop c6 played immediately.
Yeah, knight d3 now, and then we'll have a rook g2 possible as well. So, okay, this is defending this. But if I go some sort of defensive structure.
So now rook g2.
Yeah, rook g2 is tempting. I'm just wondering about... He's played it, yeah. No, he hasn't, sorry. Rook d8. Just what I'm wondering about. Rook check. Rook d7. But surely this is just losing. Take some king g2. You'd really expect it to be losing with all those weak pawns. Rook g2 played. Very nice. I mean, you've got to be quick now because rook g6 is coming in, which is going to attack this bishop on c6. So not friendly. So if you played rook h7, for example, I'd just go rook g6 and yeah. Very difficult. There we are. So David Fitzsimmons has won.
Okay.
Leaving Tim Wall once again as the final player in the round.
Yes. Right.
So,
well, they're both very short time, so maybe we'll stick with it for a bit and see.
Yeah, we can stick with it for a little bit longer. That's no problem. Dun, 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 dun. A shame we don't have a camera on the tournament hall.
Yes, I want to know if the people are still wearing their football shirts. Loz will know. I don't know whether he's got a chance to watch the stream at the moment, though.
Is he the arbiter?
I suppose, yes, if he's got a chance to watch the stream, he won't know about the football shirts.
Well, rook d8 and now rook g7 check, I would expect. Just swap off the rooks. And yeah, and play that ending, which I think should just be winning.
I would want to have got rid of black's H pawn, though.
Well, you're going to go for it soon. I think rook g7, rook d7 takes.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, you're never as confident when it's your own game, when you're playing than rather than watching. But I come here, I'm just coming up with the king, really. And I mean, this pawn is hanging all the time. I mean, the one thing you can think of for black would be maybe to try and do this, but these pawns are massive, simply.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine that would be.
As well.
I can't imagine that would be good. I mean, it's like I said, it's never as trivial to win that as when it's your own game. But I mean, I would also think that that's not 100% clear. No, that's not 100% clear. King b6. No, that's not good. That's not good. Rook g6 now is just
he's done it like a flash.
Yeah, that's really bad. No, that's not good. Knight a5, and now I think we just take this guy.
Yeah.
Because you're completely tied up. I don't know how you. I mean, that's very simple. Yeah, rook h6. You might as well just do this, and you're 2 pawns up now, and this one will be going. No, that's gone now.
That's the end.
I mean, we're actually threatening e6 here. With the idea of bishop d5, e7 check. So, okay, but now we've got knight c5 here. I think. Well, we could maybe give a little check just for and then knight c5. Bishop d5 takes rook d5. Well, can keep on putting up a fight. I mean, that's always true. But in principle, we should be... we should really be winning, I think. Is there anything cleaner than knight takes c5? Can we do something clever? Bishop c6. Oh, that is actually much cleaner.
Okay, because if knight takes, we've got knight c5, and if rook takes on d,
we go bishop d5, which is probably going to be very, very strong. Well, although, actually, maybe would we even go bishop b5? That be stronger? No, bishop d5, rook d4. I'm just wondering about. Check. Maybe but I think we just check. And we go e6 to e7. It's hard to believe that this would not be winning. To be honest,
it's got to be winning.
Yeah, but as always, it's always during a game you could easily get a little bit worried, but I do think that this is going to be winning in a pretty clear way. Knight c6 played. Okay, but now we go knight c5.
Threatening knight e6 check.
Yeah, 3 pawns up now, so I mean.
All right. Do we trust Tim to win this? We certainly do.
I think we trust him to win this. We do indeed.
Fine. Okay. We will wrap up there. We're going to be back also tomorrow morning. So we're going to be streaming from, I think, 11:15, something around about that time.
Exactly.
And so that'll be for round 4 of the Wood Green Invitational. So hopefully we will see you then. This very exciting tournament, lots of strong players in it, and going for norms. So thank you all very much for watching. Thanks, Matthew.
Thanks for watching.
See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.